Hi everyone, it's Roger and James here from the What's on Disney Plus podcast. In this week's episode, we're going to be taking a look at everything that's coming to Disney Plus in December, and we'll be sharing our thoughts along the way. We'll also be talking about a couple of new sort of stuff that we've watched, including Encanto and also Hitmonkey. Plus, we're going to be sharing our thoughts on Disney Plus just now with the second year of it running. What do we think? Kind of giving it a bit of review, and we're kind of going to have two completely different takes. We're going to have my British take and James's American take. So they're going to be a little bit different in terms of what Disney Plus has changed in the last 2 years. So a quick bit of housekeeping before we go any further. If you haven't already done so, make sure you go check us out over at whatsondisneyplus.com. You can like, favorite, and subscribe to our newsletter. You can, just to make sure you keep up all the latest, you can follow us on social media like Twitter and Facebook. You can also subscribe here to the YouTube channel, and you can also subscribe on the audio platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, etc. to keep up with the latest. And you can also become a patron from as little as $2 a month, and you can also become a YouTube channel member. That helps support the channel, helps keep all of this running, keep all the lights on and everything. So a big thank you to Sarah at the executive producer level. Thank you for your support, really means a lot. Also, a big thank you to Andrew, Elliot, Jacob, Caleb, Red Mars, Matt, Erogy, Andrew, Cody, Darren, Giuseppe. We've also got Lauren, and then over on the YouTube, big hello and thank you to Dave, Diona, BBC, CBBC Reborn, Adam, Mahoud. We've also got Ben, Raphael, Robert, J Blue, My VCR Still Works, Bina, Joshua, Dawn, Martin, Jeremy, and Sarah. Again, a huge thank you for all of your support. And again, there'll be a live Q&A tomorrow. Okay, so let's jump into it, really. So we've got quite a bit to go on. Just a couple of things to look out for. In the next week, obviously, we've got Thanksgiving coming up. So we're going to have reviews going up for Hawkeye in the middle of the week. There'll also be a review of the new Beatles, Get Back. And there'll also be some interviews I did with the directors of Encanto. That'll be coming up during the week sometime. So let's jump into it. So it's been a bit of a as expected, a little bit quiet following the D20. Oh, sorry, not the D23. That's going on right now. We've a little bit quiet after Disney Plus Day. So quiet in the fact that it almost like on Wednesday we got like 2 things added to Disney Plus in the United States. It was a very quiet week. So that's a little bit of an issue. There wasn't a huge amount of news, but we did get what's going to be coming up in December. Right now, literally as we're recording, the D23 event is taking place down in Orlando called Destination D23. Just before it was announced that they're going to get to see the 2 episodes of Hawkeye later today when the show finishes. And there's going to be a Disney Plus download event taking place at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can watch it on YouTube on the D23. They're going to be going through some stuff Disney Plus Day, but there's also going to be some surprises. I'm not expecting any major announcements. I mean, it would be nice if they were going to do a park-related show. It would make more sense to announce it there. But kind of set your expectations. I'm kind of expecting like a rehash and just come. But there could be some fun stuff. I'll be watching live and keeping track of what's going on. But just a little bit of a heads up that there might be something that gets revealed.
Sorry, did you say which day that plan? You said 9 a.m., but I didn't catch it. Is it Saturday?
Yeah, 9 a.m. on the Sunday is the Disney Plus download show. The show has already started literally as when we're recording this, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Saturday. It's a 2-day event, lots of panels, but there's just a one Disney Plus show showcase at 9 a.m. Eastern on the Sunday, just to keep aware of. And it's all on live on YouTube, so you can watch it there, ironically. But we don't know what's going to. The lack of any kind of promotion over this makes me kind of feel maybe not. And doing it on a Sunday morning is not the best time to grab any news headlines because most of the major outlets will be closed for the weekend. So it's a little bit of a strange one to do, but nevertheless, let's jump into it. So Disney announced what's going to be coming to Disney Plus here in the United States and in the UK in December. And we're going to run through the list. We'll be sharing our thoughts along the way. So at first, we're going to mention Hawkeye. We're going to be getting at least 4 episodes every Wednesday through to just before Christmas. So that's I would say the main series dropping right through December. Really looking forward to this one.
Yeah, it's like there's nothing to add on to that. This is the big release until the end of the month anyway.
Yes. We've also got 2 episodes of the Disney Insider. They're going to be dropping, they're just randomly dropping in there at certain points. And then we're going to be getting, on the 3rd of December, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, the brand new animated movie. I've got no real history with this franchise, so I'm kind of going in blind, but it's not necessarily for me. But this is kind of the big movie, really, for the month, which compared to last year is a little bit disappointing. We had like 3 big movies drop every single week right through. There's been I don't really count Home Sweet Home Alone as the Christmas movie. Kind of feels a little bit lighter this year, a little bit lighter on the movie front.
Yeah,
actually, the whole year's been a bit quiet.
Yeah, and it's probably because they're holding back a number of movies for theaters to properly open up. I mean, we've had launches, and I know we'll talk about Encanto in a bit too, but that's opening up in theaters here. So if it's opening in theaters, it's not going to be on Disney Plus for Thanksgiving weekend. The movies are transitioning back to the theater. But if you did love Home Alone, we've got more of those coming up later on this list.
Yeah, we're also going to be getting The Rescue, which is a brand new National Geographic documentary all about how they rescued 12 kids and a coach that were trapped in a cave in Thailand. So I'm actually looking forward to that one. It actually was released in cinemas last month. They seem to be doing this with the National Geographic movies. They kind of release them on very short windows, like limited cinemas, and then bring them over to Disney Plus as like the exclusive home for it, which I think is great. I think that's a good way of kind of keeping the quality of them up a little bit and getting them onto Disney Plus much quicker. So that's actually, I'll probably say The Rescue's probably in my top 5 things I want to watch next month.
I'd agree. And the trailer that they released earlier this week was really good too. This release plan is pretty typical for documentaries. They don't do all that well at wide releases. So they'll do a small amount to make them eligible for award shows. And then, formerly it was just put them onto the National Geographic channel or release them on DVD and send them out to schools and things like that. But now you can get them on Disney Plus.
Yeah, because we've had Fauci last month. We got the Rescue. I'm also in the UK. It looks like we're getting First Wave, which is going to be coming up in December as well, which is all about the first wave of COVID as they recorded it. So that one could be very interesting. We're also getting Christmas Again, which is a brand new Disney Channel original movie that'll be dropping in the US on the same day on the 3rd. It looks like it's dropping in internationally a week later on the 10th. But nice to have a Christmas movie and nice to see Disney Channel content arriving a bit quicker. So that's good. We're getting some movies from the library, including $1 Million Arm and Edward Scissorhands, plus Ice Age Continental Drift. So a nice couple of movies there. Some of them kind of doing the yo-yo on and off the US Disney Plus. Mr. Popper's Penguins is another one that's coming up. And then also we're getting this brand new Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse special, Wish Upon a Christmas. So this one was announced earlier this year. And it's literally arriving on Disney Plus like the day after it airs on the Disney Channel. So that's pretty cool. You know, I like to see them doing that with all the Christmas stuff. I just wish they could do it all year round. And then we're getting
maybe that's their 2022 resolution. Get stuff on faster from the Disney Channel.
Just makes total sense. Disney Holiday Magic Quest is also returning for a second year, and they're going to be running around Walt Disney World. So that'll be arriving again. I think it's the same day as Disney Channel, which is cool. Don't yet know about the international release on that one. Moving on from there, on Wednesday, the 8th of December, we're getting all episodes of Welcome to Earth, which is where Will Smith travels around the planet doing crazy things. Really looking forward to this one. This is definitely, again, a highlight for me of something I'm really looking for. I mean, I love Will Smith, and I love traveling. So put the two together, I really can't. I'm looking forward to that one. That was definitely going to be a highlight for me.
Of the nature documentaries that they highlighted during Disney Plus Day, I think that one's the second highest one out of the 3. But I'm still looking forward to it. As long as it's got some beautiful scenery and Will Smith doing some crazy things, which we know he will, I'm good. We're on.
Yes. Can't go wrong with Will Smith there. We're also getting new episodes of The Chicken Squad, Gabby Duran and the Unsittables, and The Muppet Babies, plus Life Below Zero, Northern Territories. Now, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to say this with Life Below Zero. Just be aware, this show seems to be something that just randomly misses its dates constantly. They announce it and then it doesn't come on, and then they put it on and then they put it on. So just keeping aware of it. We're also getting new episodes of Wicked Tuna, Outer Banks, and Spidey and His Amazing Friends. I'm gonna say Spidey and His Amazing Friends. My nephews are absolutely in love with this show. They are just going bonkers over Spider-Man right now because of that show, which is great because now they're playing with all the Spider-Man toys I brought them years ago. And also, like, Christmas coming up, what do you want? Spider-Man stuff. Cool. I know exactly where to buy that. We also got on Friday, the 10th of December, we're getting Tron Legacy is returning. Great. I actually don't mind that movie. It's just a shame it got removed and added back. Wednesday, the 15th of December, we're getting 11 episodes of a brand new series called Foodtastic, where they make life-size structures out of food. Don't worry, they give all the food away and stuff afterwards, but and dispose of it properly. But also getting new episodes of Disney Magic Bake Off. Hopefully that didn't turn out this week when they announced that was supposed to happen. More episodes of Gigantosaurus, more Life Below Zero, and some Science is Stupid. Very much a trend of you get Disney Channel shows and National Geographic shows. That's pretty much what you get.
Yeah, and thankfully Hawkeye's still mixed in there. We're not mentioning it because it's the continuous theme, but because I'm looking at the list and going, it's great that they're getting these catalog items in, keeping the Disney Channel shows going, but like, wow, there's not an incredible amount I'm looking forward to.
Not a lot there. Then you're getting, and I know this one's going to be a very popular, the Arendelle Castle Yule Log cut paper edition. So this is going to be like a stylized cut out paper flames. I actually did use this last year when they put the Arendelle Yule Log. I put them on when we had all the family over for Christmas. Hopefully this one looks nice. If it looks stupid, I'll just use last year's. It'll just be like, so it makes sense. Then we're getting 2 new Home Alone movies, or say new. We're getting Home Alone 4 and Holiday Heist. Probably most people were probably not even aware they got made. That's how bad they are. It's just like I actually didn't realize they were made until last year. I think they were being added to like Disney Plus in Canada. What are these two? I've never heard of these. I mean, they just look awful.
And the thing that strikes me about them is that all the posters for all the Home Alone movies, whether or not they had Macaulay Culkin in them or not, is he's doing they didn't get that. It's like, we get it. That's what you think was like the iconic moment of the movie.
They didn't do it for the new one, though. They didn't do it for the new one, which is probably a good thing.
I mean, that's the best praise I can give for the new one, maybe. If you missed last episode,
it's okay. It's doable. Well, it's okay. On Wednesday, the 22nd, we're getting the finale of Hawkeye and Minnie's Bowtoon's Puppy Palace. Pick some words and put them together. Then on Friday, the 24th of December, with a big one on Christmas Eve, Encanto. A fantastic movie. I was lucky enough, Disney invited me up to a special screening event up in London this week. So I got to see it, and I'm going to be honest, I went to this West End Odeon in the middle of London. I've never been to such a fancy cinema in my life. I sort of went in and went, what, all these, where's the normal seats? Because I'd like, and I go, well, I can sit anywhere. I don't have to sit in the, your first reaction of walking into a cinema is, where's the cheap seats? I'm not in, I haven't paid for the nice seats. I'm like, oh, these all look really nice. And I sit down, it's like a leather chair, and suddenly I move, and suddenly the leg goes up like a recliner. And and I'm sat there, and I'm in a full like leather recliner with a couch thing with a table. I'm like, this is better than at home. This is like slap bang in the middle. So I watched the movie, absolutely loved it. Full of the music is amazing. I really enjoyed the story. There's not really like a villain in it. You expect them to go down maybe like the superhero route, but they don't do that, even though they've all got like magic powers. Like I said, I was like, tapping along, which I don't tend to do too much. I really just enjoyed the vibe of the movie. It's pretty short. It's only about like 90 minutes. Again, this one's going to be such a hit, I think. With it coming out in cinemas on Wednesday for Thanksgiving, it's got like 30 days in the cinema, then dropping on Christmas Eve. this really is going to be getting a lot of attention right across the whole holiday season. The director told me as well in the interview that they are just they are actually really excited about that, about kind of, just more people watching the movie and just really owning this holiday season. It is a really good one. The characters are all good. They've all got different abilities and stuff, but she's just really likable as a main character. And yeah, this one I'm really looking forward to everyone seeing this one over the next month, either in cinemas or on Disney Plus for Christmas. But that is a massive release. I can't stress this enough. This is probably I'd say one of the biggest releases and to get it onto Disney Plus within a month after cinema release is a impressive thing for them to do. And I can't stress how good this movie is. And I know everyone's going to enjoy it over the holiday.
I have my tickets to see it on Tuesday. The official release date is Wednesday, but I guess they're still following the standard procedure of the big movies get a midnight release starting at 5 p.m. the day before. So
I've been listening to the soundtrack since I left. I've been humming along. I haven't ever stopped singing it. So that's good. I always feel that's a good thing when you have music from a movie and you're singing it, and like it's kind of got that earworm or something in your head where certain songs have like stuck in your head. I just really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. So that was cool. Important, but there's also a short that went alongside it. And Far From the Tree, which is about a little raccoon or two raccoons. They're on the beach. The mum is looking after the one, and she keeps trying to run off, and the mum's getting really angry with her and keeps putting her back until eventually something really bad happens, which was like noticed by the scar on the mum. And then we skip forward a little bit, and then she's teaching her daughter, but not making the same mistakes her mum made. Very lovely, beautiful art style, kind of like traditional Disney style, like Bambi, that 2D animation, which just looks amazing. That's going to be with Encanto in the cinemas. It's not on the US list, but it was showing on the UK list, and I imagine it's going to be on the same day it will drop. That is, again, a really lovely short. I thought it was lovely. Guys will get to see it next week when it comes to Encanto in the cinemas. And she actually started on the Disney Plus short circuit. So this is again someone that did that, and then they've moved on to a proper short, and then hopefully they get to then move on to do their own movies later on. But yeah, can't stress that one enough. So isn't on the official list yet, but I suspect it will be at some point.
Yeah, and it's not the first time we've had someone make that jump. I'm thinking specifically of the upcoming Pixar movie, Turning Red. Now, that wasn't a spark. That was from an actual mini that went in front of a movie. But seeing them make the jump from a little short to big, full movie, you love seeing it, honestly.
Yeah. We're also getting King Tut in Color and Lost Tombs of the Pyramids. One's put on Christmas Eve, I suppose. I want to put the kids to sleep. So no, I do actually have a love of Egyptian documentaries. My auntie and uncle actually used to have a business in Cairo, and I have been out to Cairo and seen the pyramids. And so I grew up with a lot of Egyptian artwork and history in my family. So, and we, they had business, and so I always have that kind of thing. I generally have a little bit more of an interest in Egyptian stuff. So for me, I'm like, okay, I might actually check them out. And I went down a little tunnel into the pyramid underneath, and I'll be honest, it's like, actually, yeah, that sounds a little bit interesting.
I've never been to Egypt, never seen the pyramids in person, but I loved the Egyptian mythology when I was a kid, back in school learning about stuff.
The Mummy is not
it's still a great documentary, though.
It is good.
Fantastic.
It is good.
No. Seriously, like I did really enjoy reading about those things, and then the learning the language, finding the language from the. I'm totally blanking on the name right now.
Oh yeah, completely. I don't know what you mean.
Sorry, I'm looking forward to these as well.
Yeah, they're just always good, nice stuff. And this is where National Geographic really does add a little bit of flavor for adult viewers. Wednesday, the 29th of December, getting the very first episode of Star Wars: The Book of Boba Fett. So that it is good. It just sneaks in 2021. It just got in there. I have actually decided that when we do our third annual awards I'm not including that one because I don't feel like it's like no, it's a 2022 release. It's like when nearly when like 90% of it is being released in 2022. It's like it's not really going to be one.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. We'll talk about that when we get to it, but obviously that doesn't make sense as opposed to say like The Mandalorian last year, which had everything except a single episode, which crept into 2021. Like, okay, that we can include that. That's close enough to done.
We're also getting some new episodes of Tots, and then on the 31st of December, it's saying that we're getting the 80s Top 10 series. So this was announced earlier this year with Rob Lowe. Don't know quite when that one's going to be dropping in on National Geographic, but 1980s Top 10. I'm a kid of the 80s, so sounds good to me. What jumped out from you from that one?
I think I already talked about the ones that jumped out. The Egyptian documentaries, definitely looking forward to those. The Rescue, or the Rescue, the Rescue, and then obviously Hawkeye and Book of Boba Fett are the big ones. I will see Encanto in theater next week, so that's not a huge, for me, Disney Plus drop, but I think having it just 1 month after the release will be big for a lot of people, and I think there'll be plenty of people like it's not worth the Thanksgiving crowd to go and see it. This coming week, I'll just wait for it to come onto Disney Plus. So I think that will be a big one. And if I love the movie as much as you did, I'll probably sit down and watch it again as soon as it comes onto Disney.
Yeah, I'd expect I'll probably be putting it on in the background while I'm doing some Lego or something like that, and have a bit of some downtime over that week. Right now, we're going to shift gears to what's coming in the United Kingdom. So I'm just going to pull out some of the things. I'm not going to be going through all of it because there's a lot. December the 1st, a big one for me is going to be The Last Duel. We'll be getting that one. So that's a nice big release. It's a movie I've been wanting to watch. So that's definitely going to be a cool one.
I'm just curious. That's the one with like Matt Damon and I'm just kind of like, why is Matt Damon and Ben Affleck in a French duel movie? I'm kind of interested to see how that panned out on that alone.
Yeah,
but it's a Ridley Scott movie, right?
Yeah, Ridley Scott. You've also got Jodie Comer. I mean, she is just in everything right now, and she's fantastic as an actress. She's been in so much great stuff. So that's definitely a movie that I'm going to be planning on watching. I missed it at the cinema, and this whole 45-day thing does really kind of go. It's actually worked out quite nice on some of these movies where you don't have to wait. We're getting new episodes of Dope Sick, and also going to be getting the brand new series of The Big Leap will be dropping, along with a lot of other new series, as you'd expect there to be. So I'm just going to pull up here. We're also going to be getting Taste of Nations, so that's a Hulu original that'll be coming over. Again, we'll be getting the epic of all Christmas movies. We're going to be getting Die Hard, which I'm so watching this. So this is definitely a Christmas movie for me in December.
It is the best Christmas movie, no question.
Yeah. On the official list, it did have Sunday the 5th of December, The First Wave, which is, like I said, this is a new documentary. I have asked for clarification whether it is that Sunday, whether they got the release date correct or not, because it's weird having a major release on a Sunday. So we're going to have to wait and see on that one. But this whole thing with the pandemic, that'll be just interesting to watch, just to see what's going on. Again, big thing for that one.
Admittedly, I might wait a couple of years to watch that one. I don't necessarily feel like I want to watch it while the pandemic is still a thing, honestly.
Yes, we're also getting new episodes of Blackish, and we're getting a couple of other new National Geographic documentaries, The Last Ice, which is all about, again, just Inuit communities within the Arctic trying to protect their home, which, again, great stuff to watch. Some freeform movies and stuff will be dropping in there as well. Another big movie dropping on the 15th of December in the UK, and I suspect it will be going around the world as well, will be Ron's Gone Wrong, which is the new animated movie that came out just a few weeks ago in cinemas. Again, that 45-day window really coming in and giving us a lot of content internationally. You can see that difference of, when these are dropping in as well as the Disney movies, that library is starting to build up a little bit. So that there's definitely going to be an interesting one. Another major title, which I really hope a lot of people else get, is Malcolm in the Middle. This was one of the first titles announced for 20th Century Fox way back at the Investors Day in 2019. Finally had that one coming into the UK. So again, hopefully we'll be getting that one dropping in.
It's important to have the Breaking Bad prequel in the list there.
Another movie I'm really looking forward to watch is Jojo Rabbit. That'll be dropping into the UK as well. It's already available in some countries, but it's just nice to have that kind of content.
It was a really good movie. I laughed through much of it.
Well, we watched it on the plane last year when we were coming back from the Caribbean. So I want to watch it on the big screen. I've seen it on a Diddy Little thing, so I'm looking. I will want to watch it again. Another big series dropping onto the Disney Plus here in the UK on Wednesday, the 22nd of December, is going to be The Wonder Years. We're getting new episodes of that every week. So that's the new modern version. So there's just so much stuff just dropping in on the UK everywhere. I mean, we literally now in the UK, we're literally getting like 20 to 30 things on a Wednesday. And we're also getting some major titles that have been missing for a while, like Dog in the Blog and Sunny with a Chance of... not Sunny. Sunny with a... Was it Sunny? I was getting there, Sunny with Chance of Meatballs, but that's entirely different. I completely got mixed up on that one there.
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
Yeah, no, don't worry. It's fine. We'll move on from there. Another big movie dropping is Downhill, which stars Will Ferrell. I missed that one, so that was, again, a movie I'm actually looking forward to it. Now, I got to say, Life and Death in the Paradise of Crocs in the Caribbean. I was trying to find some images to put in here. And I found one of the National Geographic websites on somewhere. They actually had a Death in Paradise image of the actors from the BBC murder mystery. And I'm going, no, that doesn't match up with it. Why are they getting a BBC series? Because it's really random. We keep getting these random movie series dropping onto the UK. And I was like, no, that's definitely not, because it's got no crocodiles in it. So there's some weird documentary. Life of Pi, which obviously is a big movie. This is where, like I said, we're getting loads of ESPN content. So if you're into your sports, there's lots of them dropping in there. Another big thing dropping here in the United Kingdom is, obviously, we're getting things like the Salisbury poisoning. So that's, again, a UK drama, which you would generally not expect. We're also getting Paddington 2 and Paddington 1. These are not Disney-made movies, but it's all part of, I think, of trying to build up how much English and British content is available on Disney Plus here. I don't know, either to reach a quota or to reach a different part of the audience, but when it was like Paddington 1 and 2, that's a bit of a strange stretch. They always said they weren't going to license content, but they've been licensing so much stuff here now, trying to boost up Disney Plus here in the UK and just really revving it up, which is great. Just more content, the better.
True. And for a lot of the content they're talking about, I would suspect it's for quota reasons. It's just like, we need to hit this quota for how many English films we have in the UK. But Paddington 1 and 2, if I was in charge of picking them up and I could get a decent price, I'd be like, grab those two, because those are really, really good movies.
They are good.
Both of them are.
And now I can't wait for the mix-up for the metaverse, where we're going to get Paddington and Pooh Bear in the fight over who has the best breakfast filling. Do you have toast or honey or do you have marmalade or honey on your toast?
I got to go with Team Marmalade on this, but Team Honey's got a pretty good argument going too.
See, I rotate. See, one week I buy jam, and then another week I buy honey, and then another week I buy marmalade, and I kind of just rotate around a little bit. So they get, and I'm not joking. That's literally.
I mean, that is fair. Obviously, we go through phases in our food. There'll be some weeks where you're just like, this is the greatest thing ever, and then like the next week, oh, I had way too much of that. I need to find something else now.
Yeah, you can't be a bit of marmalade. So that's good. So like I said, a lot of great stuff dropping here in the UK right through December. And it just continues to show the vast difference now between the UK and the US Disney Pluses. It really is such a difference in terms of, I mean, first off, just getting those 20th century titles just 45 days plus after cinema releases. you're really starting to see where that's coming in and giving you dividends. When now, because you're really only talking, it was only really August that like cinema started kicking up again. With the releases we had like Free Guy, we had The Night House, and then since then they've been releasing movies like constantly. And this is where like Disney Plus is now starting to gain with those movies dropping in on top of them, things like Shang-Chi and the Jungle Cruise, and it really starts bulking out those monthly because I think there could have been a few extra titles that they could have probably dropped in there, like the French Dispatch, maybe Antlers, and there was also a lot of talk about whether or not we'd get Eternals for Christmas. But as of yet, they've not mentioned Eternals. Technically, it could become available for Disney Plus at the just before Christmas, but they might either be wanting to hold it back a little bit because of Encanto, or they want to have a big splash and also just get those last few weeks' money at the box office, because they don't tend to like announcing stuff too early while things are at cinemas. They do tend to like to hold off a little bit on them.
And that's why the Encanto announcement was kind of interesting in that regard too. They actually announced it would be coming right before Christmas, before it even hit theaters. Which is different from what they've been doing. Obviously, they've got the numbers, but I would tend to agree that logically speaking, you don't want to announce when it's coming on Disney Plus if it's still in theaters.
Well, also, I mean, they didn't used to normally announce when it was coming to like DVD and digital until at least a month after the cinema release, because they was, trying to judge the waters of, they generally don't tell you anything because they want you to go to the cinema to watch it. Whereas like now, it's like you could look at like The Last Duel and Ron's Gone Wrong. They've been out in cinemas for 5 weeks. So it makes sense now, like, okay, the tail's dropped off. It makes sense to try and boost this back up again. Like I said, you got to look at, for me now, in terms of my highlights, we got Hawkeye, you got the Book of Boba Fett, Encanto, you've got Last Duel, The Ron's Gone Wrong, Welcome to Earth, and The Rescue, and maybe also The First Wave, plus The Wonder Years. Plus, we're getting Dope Sick, which I'm really can't wait to watch a new episode this week, so get back on track. So yes, just a lot of. December's great for the UK lineup, but the US lineup it's really showing now this just trend of like Disney is so stuck in either we've got Marvel and Star Wars, and then we've got these 2 National Geographic and Disney Channel stuff, and we've got nothing really to help fill up the void in.
Yeah, and remind me, I know you just had the list up, but what episode of Dope Sick are you guys on?
We've only just had episode 3 this week, because we're a little bit, because I think America's just had the finale this past week on Hulu.
I believe so. Yeah, I watched the first 2, and we talked about those briefly, a couple, and I was like, I don't know what the UK release schedule is.
Yeah, it's episode 4 is coming up on Wednesday, so that's what we'll be back to talking about that next week, and talk about them weekly. But yeah, it's I think that pretty much lines us into our next discussion, really, of looking here at like we're going now into year 3 of Disney Plus since it launched in the US, and over those two years, things have changed, things have got better. For some things necessarily haven't, but in general, how do you feel now, 2 years on from like Disney Plus subscribe? How do you feel with this subscription?
I just want to address this for the most part. Yeah, things have gotten better. We say on the week when literally no content dropped.
It was I'm not kidding. It was awful. The US list, and then half of it didn't turn up. Like couple of shows didn't even turn up. Some Dr. Oakley Vet or something turned up unannounced, but a couple of shows didn't. The rest of the world was supposed to get Hit Monkey, the first episode of that. Nobody got it. It just randomly didn't turn up. And then social media were being deleted about advertising it. So I don't know when it's coming. A load of people contact me. I was looking forward to it just as much as you guys. Yeah, didn't arrive internationally. Just play. I don't know if it was dubbing or subtitles or there was some other conflict. But yeah, so it was a real messy week for releases. And it was. I mean, literally, we were laughing about, like you said. Like you were like, well, what do we review this week? It's like, well, we've got nothing. Literally, there is nothing. I mean, I did watch that thing they put from D23 this morning, but there was nothing really in terms of Disney Plus originals.
No, fortunately, you got the pre-screen for Encanto, so you're
Yeah.
able to talk about that. And Hit Monkey did drop over here, so I will talk about the first episode in a little
Yeah.
bit. But other than that, we're like, I think there was a Minnie Mouse thing. That was about it. Anyway, back to the original question.
Yeah.
This week aside, I mean, Disney Plus is obviously in a much better place. Whether
Yeah.
you're talking about new content coming out or content that you may have missed if you're a new subscriber, like when it first launched, it was like you got The Mandalorian, a couple of other things that maybe you're interested in. Maybe you want to see Jeff Goldblum being weird, something like that. But now you've got Mandalorian, you've got Loki, and What If, WandaVision, Boba Fett coming up, Hawkeye starting next week. Obviously, there's a lot that people are going to be interested in. And then they've got the movie catalog as well. You can watch Black Widow and Shang-Chi and Jungle Cruise. And then even if you don't want new content, the back catalog has been slowly building up. Now, I know that's really backed off, and a lot of people are still like, where's this one classic that I loved watching growing up? Which, I sympathize with. Chances are at this point, most of those aren't going to be coming in for a while. But regardless, no matter what kind of content you're looking for, we're obviously in a much, much better place than we were.
So it's that thing of like, do you feel like it's worth so as he pops off. So for me, I definitely feel like Disney Plus is technically Disney Plus here in the UK launched only like 18 months ago. But I was using it from like when it launched in the Netherlands. So I've just been using it for well over 2 years. And for me, I feel like I've had such an improvement from where it was, because for me, that star branding just transforms what I would watch. And then since that launched in February, it has just continued to get stronger, as there's been a lot of bumps in the road. And there's no means there's a lot more bumps that they need to iron out. You know, their release scheduling, you know, what they're doing, and around the world releases, getting on track with the US for a lot of stuff is still very important. But we are now getting 10 to 15 shows, new episodes dropping every single Wednesday. You know, American Horror Stories, Family Guy. You know, in Canada, they're getting The Simpsons. In Australia, they're getting Grey's Anatomy and Station 19. We're getting FX shows like The Premise, and it's just, you know, we are really just getting it is becoming, you know, and you can watch stuff on there from lots of different platforms, and I know I'm watching so much more Disney Plus now than I ever was. Because I think that nostalgia view of the thing of, oh, I'll just watch that, or I'll just see what that is, or I'll watch that movie. Oh, I've not seen that in a while. Whereas now I feel like I can watch new stuff. Like this morning, I watched a new episode of Mixed Dish, a new episode of Family Guy. I watched that D23 museum thing. There's a load of shows there also that I've watched as well. You know, like with Dope Sick and stuff like that, and having things like Only Murders in the Building and Love Victor and some really great shows that have dropped over this past 6 months or so. Disney Plus is just in a much better place here in the UK and internationally than it was. They still have a lot of things to iron out. There's still some contracts that they've kind of got to get stuff sorted to get things on there. And I could write a whole list of stuff that they need to improve. But you've also got to look and go, right, what have they improved since that time? And it is night and day compared to how much, sometimes it was like log in, check out the new original, and I might not go back into it for 4 or 5 days. Now I'm in there daily. It's just it's my go-to app. It's like that and YouTube. I mean, if it wasn't for my wife watching Netflix, I'd cancel it because it's just I don't go in there the same. I mean, I'm going to go in there and watch Tiger King this weekend, but generally I don't go in there because Disney Plus is providing me with lots of variety. And I feel obviously we're doing the website and the podcast and stuff that it's my responsibility to check out new episodes of everything, to at least watch one episode of everything that drops to kind of get a feel for it. Sometimes I don't like stuff, sometimes I do, but I do try to watch, when they drop new series and stuff to kind of get a gist of it. sometimes I end up going down a rabbit hole of catching up, like I did with Walking Dead, in like 11 seasons, or like Orville of 2 seasons of that, or Blackish, where I've just plowed through like between that Grownish and Mixish, where I've ended up watching like 10 seasons of stuff because I've found stuff, and that's for me makes this whole app so much more valuable because they'll have see from their stats of where it was in like January to where it was in November, very different, and I'm sure there's a lot of households doing the same.
Yeah, two things on that. First, like for a lot of 2020, especially at the beginning, I literally didn't turn Disney Plus on except on Friday because that was when the new releases were dropping. And I would watch two things because that's what was released and then be done. And the app would literally not be turned on until the next Friday. Even once they started shifting to a Wednesday release, I was still in the Friday mindset. And like Winter Soldier would drop and be like, oh, right, that dropped on Wednesday. Well, it's Friday now. We'll watch it now. So there was that. But also the other point you're talking about with all the Star content coming onto Disney Plus was absolutely a game changer for the UK and the other territories that it's in. Cannot stress enough how different it is. Because here in the States, we've got Hulu, and they're two separate services. In my mind, I'm combining them into one because I'm following your release schedule on those. But for most people, Hulu and Disney Plus are not the same thing. They're not connected. You might be able to get a package with the two of them as a subscriber option, but you have to go to two different apps. Your Xbox or your PlayStation needs to have two different apps, and so on. So if you're browsing Hulu, you're not going to see The Mandalorian or WandaVision listed in there. And if you're on Disney Plus, you're not going to see Dope Sick or Only Murders in the Building. And it makes such a huge difference just with the perception of how much content is on there.
Well, I mean, you can see here, I like to bring up, I do this a lot now, just like bring out Disney Plus so you guys can all see what's in there. And you can see this mix of content just changes how much you watch, because when you have all of this at your fingertips, it's just a much more variety. I haven't watched Terminator Dark Fate. That got dropped here in the UK. So that's on my list of things to watch this week. A movie that I missed. We're now getting things like Anna, which is an Italian drama series about what happens when all the kids don't, their parents die. And getting really weird stuff in here that you just would not normally expect to see in here. And I know my wife is watching a lot more Disney Plus since Star got introduced. My parents are watching a lot more stuff on Disney Plus since Star got introduced. And to me, that's definitely the barometer was when my parents and my wife started watching stuff, and my wife would start going into Disney Plus because she was, as far as the originals go, she was getting just bored of, of me making her sit through some TV series, which is just not aimed at us. We're just not the target audience. And so, she was, but now she's like, right, what can we watch? And I'm thinking, okay, well, we got a couple of shows to watch coming out. We got Welcome to Earth, we've got The Wonder Years, The Big Leap. And that's what my wife's much more. So we tend to watch those things together. But again, it just makes a massive difference having this content. I know a lot of people say, well, it's like Hulu. It's like it's not like Hulu because it's all in one. There is no distinguishing. This doesn't feel any different than yours. It's just got a lot more different content in there.
And it's important to remember, like, part of the reason that Netflix got so popular in the first place back when it started the streaming service was this one-stop shop for everything. The convenience of having everything in a single app cannot be understated. Not having to switch between apps, not having to go, okay, I really want to watch The Foundation. What is that on? Oh, that's on Apple. I really want to watch The Expanse. Oh, that's on Amazon Prime. Things like that. One other thing that I was reminded of while we're browsing yours here, you mentioned Anna. We can't understate the foreign content coming in as well. I know I've mentioned my mom has been binging Korean content over on Netflix, not just Squid Games, but just like all of it, the Korean content, and having that in these as well. Sure, they're not going to make as many headlines for the most part, Squid Game being the exception, as Shang-Chi or Boba Fett, but having them there for people to find really just increases the amount of options you have. Especially, okay, you go to here in the States, I work with a number of people from the Indian region, India, Nepal, etc.
Mhm.
Just being able to go, oh yeah, we've got some content from your country on this platform here. It makes them happy to have that little taste of home.
For me, it's more about the fact of you can get something that comes up that you maybe wouldn't necessarily have checked out before. I think Disney is still very, very much, they're still very slow in how they did it. We had Intertwine for Disney Plus Day last week. They're still very slow on the uptake. Like some of the Korean content that got released last week when it got launched, they didn't do it here. It wasn't out. So they have got to watch that. I think they've got to improve on that, definitely. Just past week, they did announce that Hotstar in the US is actually closing down at the end of the month. It was supposed to be end of next year, but they pulled it forward. So they've managed to get most people moved over, I think, to Hulu and ESPN Plus a lot quicker than they were maybe anticipating. No word yet on when that might happen in the UK and in Canada, where Hotstar still runs independently. When that happens, I suspect a massive influx of new content here. There's going to be that thing of once it's included into Disney Plus, I'll be covering it a little bit more in depth. But yeah, this should really broaden the horizon and stuff. But they've got to work out a way of incorporating it, making it findable, but also not overwhelming, because they've kind of got to watch that. With it, as far as I can see with Hulu, it's pretty much buried. You really have to go look for it. I think, is that right? You really would have to go try and find it.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. But I definitely feel like, looking here, going into year 3 of Disney Plus, I'm much more optimistic. There are problems, and I definitely feel like now I feel like I'm in that zone of really pushing for the US to get this access to this extra content. I feel like it's become, it was always that kind of thing of like, oh yeah, people were like going, oh well, some people are like, I don't want it in there. It's like, this is going to be a game changer, and now it feels like America has woken up a little bit. The Wall Street is like starting to get a little bit, and shareholders are going like this tiered approach of all these different things. And Disney Plus is the new kid on the block excuse is starting to wear off. Everybody else is doing something differently, but I think that whole thing of like you say, a week like that, you got weeks coming up in December on Disney Plus in the US. You got 1 week, a Hawkeye episode and Minnie Mouse. That's it. That's not really variety. It is. That's not a lot of choice. It is actually. You look at that list. It's like it's National Geographic, it's Disney Channel, and Marvel and Star Wars. Those are your 4 brands. That's basically all you've got.
Pretty much. And I think people will be directed towards like the parental controls and things like that too. So if you're one of those families like, I do not want my kid to see a promo image for American Horror Story when they're browsing Disney Plus. They want to watch Mickey Mouse. They don't want to see these graphic images. There are parental controls. You can say, I do not want anything PG-13 or above, or PG or above to show up on the feed. And I suspect around the time, whether they announce it or not, that they're going to start merging stuff in, there will probably be a lot of like, here are your parental controls, PSA advisories, which ironically they didn't really do all that well when they actually launched the parental controls.
Yeah, well, I mean, I definitely think they need to kind of show off much more of it. I mean, again, this is the difference of when you go into. This actually reminded me, I needed to set my nephew's account to being kids, because I went in there the other day with my nephew to put something on for him. I'm like, oh yeah, definitely not the best thing to do. But yes, I definitely feel like, as a whole, you want to get in there and do that. So yeah, I think just as a whole, we have just really seen a massive change in the UK. Unfortunately, as I said, the US hasn't really got there, but I think the originals are helping, and hopefully things do improve. Things do start to change going into 2022. We do start seeing just a better app all the way around. And I think I find it very frustrating from the point of view of going, look, there's such a better version of Disney Plus now. and all these like excuses that were being thrown up in the last week or two by some people in the US, and they're going, but your excuses of why they can't do it, they can't do this, they can't do that, or they shouldn't do this, they shouldn't do that. And the executives are arguing about, oh, there's too much, we don't want to be like Netflix. You're already doing it. You're already doing it around the world. It's like, it's one thing, had they never done this and everyone was in the same position, I'd be like, okay, but you've done it. You've already shown that it's working. You have the data to show that it works on multiple different levels. I find that even harder, because along the lines of, you guys have done this, but you're not looking, because so many executives and stuff don't seem to look outside of what's happening in the US. You've already made this choice, and it's like, it's only going to compound it as, like, I think as more and more people learn about this difference, but also just along the lines of, they can see for themselves. Now, whether or not what they do differently with Hulu and stuff when they sort out the contract, I am hoping that in the next year they can sort that out. This past week, they actually announced that they were incorporating the Disney bundle into the live Hulu bundle, which I thought was, I think, the best way. I mean, if you're spending only $70 a month, throw in the streaming, you're going to need that to keep them invested, because that content's going to start dripping away from next year. But yeah, for me, Disney Plus is internationally, it's in a much better place. In the US, it's a couple of steps forward than where it was at the beginning of the year. It's not a huge amount more than where it was this time last year.
It is a much better position with the originals and things like Hawkeye and Boba Fett. But if you're going to go on that as your main selling point, then you need this original content, the quality original content, to be year round. Yeah, we give it a bit of a pass in that regard. We're like, okay, we're between the major releases. Here's some Mighty Ducks or Diary of the President and stuff like that. But obviously, they're not drawing people in the same way that Hawkeye, Loki, Mandalorian, and so on. So they're nice secondary releases to go alongside the major releases, but you do have to have the continuous stream of originals if you're not integrating Hulu into Disney Plus at this point.
Yeah, my biggest problem with a lot of the Disney Plus originals is that once you take away Marvel and Star Wars, what's left, the series are still very much focused on kids and young, like teenagers, or I'd say young teenagers, not even like older teenagers. We're looking like 12, 13-year-old. Because Mysterious Benedict Society, Big Shot, Big Shot had a few, was probably the better one out of all of them, but it still had a little bit of an undertone that was a little bit too young for being a mass market program. And I definitely feel like Doogie Kamealoha completely missed it.
I think Doogie had a number of problems, that being one of them. But yeah, Big Shot, it did a good job of straddling that, having stuff for adults, having stuff for kids, but they didn't really meet in the middle. You either had a section that was for adults, and it was normally like Stamos dealing with dating or trying to figure out how to deal with his daughter, and the kids aren't going to be interested in that. And then you had the kids stuff where the girls are trying to figure out just high school life, and as adults, I'm like, I don't want to remember high school life, thanks, just stay over there.
And also, I mean, I'm going to be honest, the high school that's shown in American TV series is so far away from reality anyway. I mean, especially internet, it's like, I don't recognize any of this. It's just a load of tropes, just a load of cliches that just, one after another. But the only thing that really kind of stood out really was The Right Stuff, and then they cancelled that because we got cancelled because you guys didn't have anything else like this on the platform, so audiences weren't checking it out. It was, you chuck this thing on there, go, oh yeah, we got a serious drama series. Yeah, but this is the only one on here. It's the only one you've got, so the audience was never there. If they put like the Hot Zone Anthrax, put that on there, the National Geographic one, or put the Wonder Years, or put something else on there this year to kind of rev up the family content. Because I still think with the US, I think that would be the way I would do it right now. You can't deal with Hulu, you still got that, but cherry pick some of the best like shows about families and start utilizing that. Things like the Wonder Years, Malcolm in the Middle. Start offering some more mature content like Mixed Dish or Blackish. Put that on there and say, look, this is about family. if you got a TV, like I was watching Mix this morning, and she's 13 years old going out for a first date, and then what the parent, like, well, this is about as family friendly as you could possibly be. It's about a 13-year-old's first date, but they won't put it on there. It's like, it's just but it is a general entertainment show.
Yeah, and sometimes I wonder how much of it is licensing. Like it's licensed to go to Hulu, so they can't put it on Disney Plus or things like that. And how much of it is them backing off. I mean, obviously we know the original season of Love, Victor was supposed to be Disney Plus, and then they got cold feet and pushed it over. But I suspect that's more of the exception rather than the case for most of them. Contracts are the annoying part, but I do agree with you. They need that. That content that's between kiddie and adult.
Yeah. Just put a couple more toes in the water. Just start I'm not really funny, but we got the Beatles Get Back coming up this coming week, and they're having to put advisory warnings on it because it consists of smoking and swearing, and it was like, well, you guys, and Fauci's got swearing, and they're like, you're willing to bend the rules sometimes, but not all the times, and it's like, if you've got a TV 14 rating, use it. Go up to it. I don't expect, American Horror Story and The Strain, don't maybe go straight to that. I can understand that in the US it's a much bigger problem with branding than it is internationally, but just ease. start just easing in some shared content a little bit. I think that'll be where I'd go first off, is just start preparing the waters, just getting people a little bit more ready for some more matured stuff.
And these documentaries or docudramas like The Right Stuff are the best way to get in there, because you can always just fall back on it and go, they're swearing in it, but that's how they talk. This is literally how the Beatles talk. They're smoking. They were kind of famous for that.
Well, it was the 60s. It was that kind of 70s. That kind of thing of like, the trouble is, I think again, you're looking, everyone's looking for it through this lens of now rather than back then. It was just like having, a drink, and I feel like, the US has got to stay, if they can start just shifting in a few little things here and there to help just some binge-worthy shows, and maybe a few more PG for, because with the movies, you can watch like, Shang-Chi or something like that, where they can decapitate somebody and do all kinds of stuff, but have a little bit too much of a conversation about something realistic, and it was too risky. I mean, I know like some people were complaining about like only murderers in the building here in the UK, and go, well, there's a swear word in it, and then like people are going, it's 16, it's rated 16. Well, that's Selena Gomez in. They just assumed it was. It's like, well, that's on you. It's like the parental controls that they brought in back in February. I think that really helped set Disney, but Disney Plus in the US hasn't really started to utilize that properly yet. I feel they should do. They should start pushing that boundaries a bit on the 12 and the 14 stuff to start, I would say, getting people prepared for a little bit more mature content on there, because the Beatles is going to push it. There's going to be there will be some people go. And if any kid wants to sit through 7 hours of them sitting around jamming, you're gonna get that kind of a thing of, it's not for them.
Well, I think the Beatles in particular tend to be, a little bit like cleaned up and washed up in modern culture. Most kids only ever like experience the music, and even then, it's probably because like their parents really loved it or something like that. A lot of the just sheer craziness that went on around the Beatles and their personal lives, and heck, even the movies they made, like I don't think they've really made it into modern culture, and now we just have like an idolized version of that.
It's almost like too much time has gone past, and it's definitely going to be interesting when this one drops next week. It's coming. It just, for me, I think we are going to see hopefully a little bit of a change, but we'd love to know what you guys think of Disney Plus like 2 years in. Where would you like to see it improve? What are you thinking like 2 years on? Before we head off, James is just going to tell us a little bit about the first episode of Hit Monkey, what you thought of it. We were going to talk about it, but since I didn't get to see it, it didn't turn out. It went incognito. What was it like?
So first of all, I hope that whatever is preventing its international release gets fixed. Or they tell us what it is. So hopefully you guys get it. So watch the first episode. It is definitely a mature title. So again, it's not on Disney Plus here. It's on Hulu. So you don't have to worry about your kids seeing gore, but it is a gory, bloody show. Not entirely sure how I feel about it yet. I think it will be pretty good. The action has generally been pretty good. The story is pretty straightforward, mafia, revenge stuff. You think Kill Bill kind of things. Well done. You do kind of have to deal with the absurdity of a monkey that's dual wielding assault rifles and things like that. But unlike, say, MODOK before it, you can tell right from the beginning they know what they want to do with this series. They have a story set up. They know we're going full adult and we're focusing on this story, which just by itself is an instant improvement over MODOK. My main complaint is that the main character, not the monkey, but the human who trains the monkey and guides him, is just completely unlikable. And it doesn't look like this is going to be a redemption story for that person. I think they're just going to be a jerk the entire time. It's like, I was thinking about it. I think it's like if you take Archer, the Archer animated series, but play him straight rather than as the lovable buffoon or however you want to think about him. He's insufferable, honestly.
So I'm looking forward to watching it. It's kind of weird with this kind of show because I think there's that kind of feeling of going, I think the producers and stuff have been out saying, well, we got multi-season plans. I'm going, yeah, I've heard all this before. It's like this stuff sometimes feels like it's just been chucked out because they were so deep into development. Oh, we're just going to finish it. So I'm interested to see how this works out. I think in the US they dropped the whole season at once. Don't know yet when it's going to drop here. No word yet. I've reached out but haven't heard anything. But so we didn't really get a hit monkey, so it'll be a while I think before we hear about that. Or it could just randomly turn up one day. So on that note, so that's pretty much going to be this week's episode. Next week we'll be talking about Hawkeye, and also the Beatles Get Back. So we'll be talking about them too. I'm not expecting a huge amount of news next week because obviously with Thanksgiving, I'm expecting things to quieten down. But sometimes Disney can throw us a few curveballs and kind of. It's hard. I don't think there's any real major trailers. I think we're at that point where the next big movie after. You got Spider-Man, and then after that, we've got Turning Red in March, and then Doctor Strange in May. There's quite a big chunk of time. Disney really moved out of the winter, and there can be a bit of a lull. But on that note, guys, thank you very much. See you guys soon. Later. I'd like to thank all of our Patreon and YouTube channel members for their support. You can become a member from as little as $2 a month and you get access to our weekly Q&A and much more.